Welcome back, everybody, to the MDNGHT Collective podcast, where we are redefining what it means to be a man one day at a time. I'm your host, Eddie, and today we're going to go into a much harder topic. This will also fall back into the theme that we've somewhat been going in line with our mental health, something that I hold near and dear in my own life. This is going to be a hard conversation about men and anxiety. But before we get into it, I just want to say thank you. The support and feedback after the last episode, it means a lot. It reminded me that we're on to something real here in this collective. So if you've reached out, shared it, or simply just listened, I see you and thank you. Now, let's start this off with a quick thought. Why is it so easy to talk about a broken arm, a bum knee, or even just a nasty cold? But when it comes to mental health, we freeze up. Imagine if our brains could wear casts. Maybe we treat our mental wounds with the same sense of urgency. We so often brush off the ideas that men don't go through things in their own heads, that we as men aren't ever going through something, that we don't ever get worried while we wait in line, that we don't have to look around the room 20 times before we walk into it, or that we don't need to sit with our backs to the wall while we eat somewhere because we have this insistent need to keep our eyes glued on the door. See, the thing about anxiety is it's in everything we do. It's in our everyday life, and I'll tell you firsthand, the minute I stand in line somewhere, I'm anxious. The minute I send a text or email not knowing what kind of response I'll receive back, I'm anxious. Anxiety lives in men. It is created by the life that we have to live. It's created by those around us not understanding the things that we need to hear. Anxiety is here, and it's more important than ever for us to talk about it. Today, we're going to go beyond the surface. We're going to unpack what anxiety really is, how it shows up in our lives as men, and more importantly, how we confront it without shame. So, anxiety. It's a word we throw around like it's no big deal. But let's get real about it. What does it actually feel like? It's not just stress. It's not just butterflies before a presentation or a big life moment. Anxiety is deeper. It's that invisible weight pressing down in your chest when everything's quiet. It's lying in your bed with your mind racing at 100 miles an hour, cycling through a highlight reel of worries you can't shut off. It's that voice in your head, persistent, nagging, whispering that you're not good enough, you're not doing enough, you're not being enough. It's exhausting. And the thing is, anxiety doesn't look the same for everyone. There's generalized anxiety disorder, where the worry never seems to stop. There's panic disorder, where fear hits you out of nowhere, stealing your breath and leaving your body shaking. There's social anxiety, where even casual interactions feel like a performance under a microscope. And then there's performance anxiety, where the pressure to be perfect keeps you stuck in your own head. Physically, anxiety is loud. A racing heart, a tight chest, clammy hands, shallow breathing. Emotionally, it drains you. You're irritable, constant overthinking, second-guessing every move, and a relentless sense of unease that something's just off. But here's where it gets even heavier. Especially for us as men, we are taught early to man up, to be tough. Don't cry. Don't show weakness. Keep your emotions locked up because vulnerability, that's not manly, right? Wrong. Dead wrong. Let me be straight with you. Acknowledging your anxiety doesn't make you weak. It makes you courageous. It takes real strength to look inward and say, something isn't right. It takes power to be open about it, to talk about it, to ask for help. Because silence isn't strength. It's a slow burn. True strength is knowing when to let go of the pressure to always be okay. Healing starts when we stop pretending and start speaking up. When we check on our boys, when we say, yeah, I feel that too. When we remind each other that being human, emotions and all, is not a flaw. It's the most real thing about us. You're not alone, and you're not broken. This is the beginning of something stronger, not quieter, not hidden, stronger, together. So here's something that kind of flies under the radar most of the time, but fuels a ton of anxiety for men. The pressure to always be productive. And I get told like this all the time. Oh, you're so productive. You get so many things done. You fit your day so well. But it's hard. It's not easy. It's that struggle to make it happen, to write your list down, to prioritize every single thing you do just to get a couple things done, to fill one day. And we grow up hearing things like, get your money, what's your next move, you got to stay on your grind. Society ties our values and our manhood to how much we're producing. If you're not achieving, you're not leveling up, you're not working overtime, then you start to feel like you're falling behind and like you're failing, like you don't matter. That pressure, it's quiet, but it's deadly. It hurts. Because what happens when life slows you down? What happens when you get laid off or your business hits a wall or you simply burn out? Most guys don't just feel tired. They feel worthless. Like their identity is crumbling. And that can send you into a deep spiral of self-doubt, depression, and emotional shutdown. And I'll tell you firsthand, feeling lost is something that comes naturally, and it's terrible. When you feel lost, you don't feel like you have a purpose because you're not being productive, because the world sees you as just somebody that needs to provide and give and give. And when you don't receive back, that's when you feel like you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. When in fact, all you needed to do was give. All you needed to do was produce. And that's where your self-worth comes in and your self-reliability. Because having that, I don't want to say takes away from having anxiety, but it builds on it in the fact where you feel more accomplished. But hear me on this though. You're not your productivity. Your worth isn't tied to your paycheck, your position, or how much you can hustle in one day. You are allowed to rest. You are allowed to pause. You are allowed to just be. The grind doesn't define you. How you treat yourself when you're not grinding does. So next time that anxiety creeps in and whispers you're not doing enough, talk back to it. Say, I'm growing even in stillness. I'm healing even when it doesn't look like progress. That mindset shift can change everything. So let's take it back. Let's look at what causes anxiety. The truth is, almost anything can. That's the tricky part. It doesn't always come with a clear cause or warning label. Sometimes it's just the pressure to perform at work, the weight of strained relationships, or the constant stress of trying to keep up financially. Other times, anxiety just rolls in, completely uninvited, like a storm out of nowhere. No explanation, no logic, just that heavy feeling settling in for a visit. And let's be honest, coping with anxiety doesn't come with a one-size-fits-all manual. Some of us try to distract ourselves. We binge watch shows, guilty. Dive into work, also guilty. Or just watch movies until 2 a.m. Spoiler, that last one is a terrible idea. Trust me, I've tried. But here's the thing. Managing anxiety is a process. It's like learning a new language. At first, it feels awkward and frustrating. You stumble over your words. You get confused. You want to quit. But over time, with practice and patience, things begin to click. You start to understand the signals. You learn what helps and what hurts. You find your rhythm. There are tools that can help. And no, they don't all involve burning sage or doing backflips off a mountain. Trust me, just don't do that. It can be as simple as deep breathing, taking 10 minutes to be still and present, going for a walk, moving your body, practicing mindfulness. For some, it means seeing a therapist. For others, it may involve medication. And there's absolutely no shame in that. It's all about finding what works for you. Now, let's talk about lifestyle. Because self-care isn't just bath bombs and inspirational quotes. You don't need to go full beast mode in the gym or adopt some perfect morning routine with green juice and yoga at sunrise. Start where you are. A short walk, a light jog, eating something real instead of skipping meals or stress snacking, prioritizing sleep instead of doom scrolling at 3 a.m., adding in journaling, some quiet meditation, or even just giving yourself permission to feel what you're actually feeling. That's self-care too. These aren't magic fixes. They won't flip a switch and erase the anxiety overnight, but they're daily reps, mental strength training. Over time, those small habits build resilience. They help you respond instead of just react. They create space between the feeling and the spiral. And that space, that's where the power lives. So take it one day at a time, one breath at a time. You're not trying to beat anxiety. You're learning how to live with it, navigate it, and not let it define you. So here's one thing that I found interesting, right? This is the lone wolf mentality. The lone wolf image gets praised way too much in male culture. We've been fed this idea that being self-sufficient means never needing help, that independence means silence, that real men handle their business alone. No questions, no complaints, no emotions. We carry our pain like armor, hoping no one sees the cracks. But deep down, it's lonely as hell. Here's the thing though, even wolves run in packs. In nature, a lone wolf isn't a badass. He's vulnerable. He's more likely to starve, to get hurt, or get taken out. Survival comes from connection, from belonging. And it's the same with us. You're not less of a man for leaning on someone. You're not weak for texting a friend and saying, "Hey man, I'm not okay." In fact, those little acts of connection, that's what keeps us going. So if you've been living like a lone wolf, let me give you something. Build your pack. It doesn't need to be big, just real. A couple people who see you, hear you, hold space for you. Brotherhood doesn't have to be loud or performative. It just has to be present. You don't have to do this life alone. And honestly, you're not supposed to. Now, since it's still just me and you here in these early episodes of The Collective, let's get real and break it down a few myths about anxiety, especially the ones that hit men the hardest. Myth number 1, men don't get anxious. Now, come on. That's just like saying men don't get sunburns. Flat out false. Anxiety doesn't check your gender at the door. It's not about how tough you are or how much you can bench. It doesn't matter if you grew up in a walk-it-off household or spent years in environments where vulnerability wasn't just frowned upon, it was shut down. Anxiety can hit anyone. Doesn't matter if you're in a suit closing deals, on the job site swinging a hammer, or at home trying to be the rock for your family. Whether it's rooted in trauma, family history, brain chemistry, or just everyday stuff like trying to make ends meet, it finds its way in. Sometimes, it's even that tiny moment, waiting for that risky text reply from someone you care about. That sets it off. So yeah, men get anxious all the time. And that doesn't make you any less of a man. It makes you human. Now, myth number 2 is that it's all in your head. Technically, okay, yeah. But don't get it twisted. Anxiety isn't some imaginary problem you can just think away. It's not made up. It's not drama. It's real. And it shows up in your body. Your tight chest, your racing heart, your sweaty palms, shaking hands, upset stomach, guilty. Feeling like you're crawling out of your own skin. You're not imagining it. You're experiencing it. And it can hit harder than anything you physically see coming. We've been taught to downplay that, to shove it aside, to just man up. But ignoring it doesn't make it go away. It just makes it louder. So what do? You fight back. Not by pretending it's not there, but by owning it. That means therapy sometimes, a support group, a conversation with someone you trust, journaling, breathing exercises, faith, whatever your thing is, that's your toolbox, not your weakness. And let me say this clearly. Asking for help, talking about your mental health, that's not defeat, that's courage. Because when you choose to face your anxiety, when you look it in the eye and you say, "You don't run me," that's power. That's you taking the wheel. That's you reclaiming your peace. And that is the ultimate flex. So what now? What do you do with all of this? Let's start simple. Listen. Really listen. Not just to the noise around you, but to the quiet underneath it. Listen to your body, how it tightens up in certain moments, how it breathes deeper when you're safe. Listen to your thoughts. Are they yours, or just echoes of fear and pressure you've picked up over time? Listen to how you feel in certain spaces, around certain people. Do they drain you? Do they lift you? Are you shrinking or are you standing tall? Because awareness, that's the first step toward freedom. Anxiety isn't going to vanish just because you understand it now. It's not a villain you can defeat once and for all. It's more like a shadow. Sometimes behind you, sometimes beside you, but it doesn't have to lead. It doesn't get to drive. Whether you're about to shoot your shot on a first date or step into a room full of execs for a high-stakes pitch, anxiety is probably going to be there. That tight chest, that voice in your head, that what-if loop. But you still get to choose how you show up. Me, I know when anxiety is around. I see it, I feel it, I hear it whisper, but I don't let it tell my story. I don't let it decide who I am. I speak up. I move forward. I make room for both fear and courage. And I choose courage every time. Because that's what being a man today really means. It's not about shutting down what's inside. It's about owning it, facing it, rising above it. Here at Midnight, we're not chasing perfection. We're building legacy. We're about forging something strong, something unshakable from the inside out. We're about building empires of self-awareness, discipline, and depth. Even if the world doesn't see it that way, we see it and we live it. This isn't just a conversation. This is the movement. This is a shift. And we're only just getting started. And the best part, you don't have to fit into any mold. You get to redefine your own masculinity. One rooted in truth, connection, and purpose. That's the future. And that's what we're trying to build here. So as we finish up this episode, I hope we'd manage to shed a little light on the shadows that anxiety can cast in your life. This conversation is not a one-off. It's not just a talk about feelings and move on kind of moment. This is part of something much bigger. A quiet, ongoing war that so many of us fight every day. A war for peace, for clarity, for a sense of wholeness in a world that constantly tries to pull us apart. And the fact that you're here, that you've made space for this dialogue, for this reflection, that means more than you know. So thank you for showing up. Thanks for being part of the Midnight Collective. This community, this movement, it's about more than just content. It's about connection, growth, truth. It's about men learning to show up differently for themselves and for the people they care about. So until next time, keep pushing forward, one step, one breath, one choice at a time. Keep building the life, the mindset, the legacy you were meant for. Keep listening to yourself, to others, and to what the moment is asking of you. And above all, remember this. Asking for help isn't weakness. It's not something to be ashamed of. It's one of the most realist, powerful moves you can make. So this is Eddie, signing off for now. Stay strong. Be kind to yourself. You deserve it.